Hey guys, I'm Nick and welcome back to the channel. Well, today we're unfortunately talking about the last episode of Season 1 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. It is episode 10, the season finale, which airs next week, and we've got the trailer and the sneak peek scene to have a look at for this last episode of the season. Can't believe we've come to the end of the first season. It's been a great ride, and I'm really looking forward to the season finale. It looks like it's going to be a great episode. Before we get into watching the trailer, I just want to let you guys know on Monday, the 4th of July, special sale at the merch store. We can pick up all my Star Trek t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, caps, 22% off. It normally never gets better than 20% off, but if you want an extra special bargain, 22% off in my merch store, pick up a Star Trek t-shirt or something, help support the channel. At the same time, that'd be much appreciated and get yourself a great bargain. Let's take a look at the trailer for the last episode, episode 10 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 1, and then we'll have a look at the sneak peek scene. Let's take a look.
What's the situation?
Outpost 4 reported under attack, sir.
What's your status?
Vessel fired something at us. Fantastic power.
Ships incoming, sir. They're firing their weapon.
Brace for impact.
We're being held. Audio only.
Human, I have you surrounded. Surrender, or we will destroy you.
I think we should attack. Isn't that an act of war?
They started it.
This isn't a schoolyard. Billions of lives are at stake. This is serious. End of the world stuff.
Wow, it certainly looks like there's a lot going on in our last episode. And there's some really interesting things I noticed in this trailer that might indicate a bit of time travel involvement in this last episode. So let's take a look at a couple of these shots in a bit more detail and see if we can ascertain what is exactly going on in this last episode, because certain things look a little bit different than what we've last seen them in the rest of the season. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to Sci-Finatics yet, please don't be scared to do so. Click on that big red button to stay up to date with all the latest Star Trek news on YouTube. Let's take a look at these shots one by one and see what we can learn. Well, this is an Earth outpost station on an asteroid monitoring the Romulan neutral zone from the Federation side of the border, as Spock says in Balance of Terror.
A line of Earth outpost stations. Constructed on asteroids, they monitor the neutral zone.
Where we see Uhura wearing the same costume that she wore in original series. We see on her sleeve she has the rank of full lieutenant. So I'm guessing that we might even be seeing a bit of a flash forward to her time on Kirk's Enterprise, because she's got the hoop earrings, she's got the full rank of lieutenant. Is she going to be talking to Kirk in these scenes and not in fact Pike? We see the console here behind Spock, which the green line represents the neutral zone. As we see on this next graphic here with the perimeter alert and the words neutral zone clearly marked very, very close to where the Enterprise is sitting there. We see a ship decloaked to fire a large fireball-type weapon with a comet on the right-hand side of frame there, which matches the events of the original series episode Balance of Terror, where we see the Romulan bird of prey firing a fireball-type weapon and the presence of a comet as well. We see the Enterprise being hit by one of these Romulan fireball weapons, and the Enterprise, along with another Federation starship, hiding in the tail of this comet. We see this other Federation starship being fired on by green beam weapons, which are consistent with the Romulans, and in this next shot, we see the ship destroyed, and lo and behold, here we have a Romulan bird of prey. Another angle here on the destroyed Federation starship, comet on the right of frame, and the Romulan bird of prey here in the center. We've got Nurse Chapel no longer in her all-white nurse's outfit, but now she's wearing a Starfleet medical or sciences-based uniform. So this could be another flash forward, like we're seeing Uhura in her slightly different uniform. We see what appear to be a whole lot of freighters here warp in to support the Enterprise. I can't for the life of me work out what race these guys belong to. I've searched my ship database and can't seem to locate any info. So if you guys happen to know what race these ships belong to, let me know. We see the destruction of one of these Earth outposts along the edge of the neutral zone, destroyed by the Romulans, no doubt. And a pretty big space battle between the Federation fleet and a bunch of these freighters. We see a lot of green beam weapons here from the Romulans. And the Enterprise caught up in a pretty big battle here between what appears to be at least 10 or more Romulan ships, all firing. We've got not only birds of prey, but another class of Romulan ship here, which could be an early version of a Romulan warbird, perhaps. But there's definitely no doubt that looking at the ships here, comparing them with, say, the Romulan bird of prey we saw in Season 1 of Star Trek Picard, this is in fact the Romulans. They are back, and we've got a massive Romulan attack here versus the Enterprise. Okay, let's now have a look at the sneak peek scene for this episode, which shows a little bit more information about Pike's flash forward to the future and seeing himself in the wheelchair and things we've talked about before in earlier episodes in terms of the other cadets that get killed or he manages to save in the event that puts him in the wheelchair in about 7 years' time. So let's take a look at that.
How do you plan to fix our supply chain problems?
Under the proposed retrofit directive, every outpost will be equipped with state-of-the-art matter synthesizers fueled by minerals from the asteroid itself.
They will also each receive a set of fully automated mining craft that can be operated remotely.
Commander? How does this sound?
Sounds like what I've been asking for the last 5 years.
Well, you're welcome.
Interesting to see that our captain of this particular facility has a slightly different insignia on his uniform. Obviously, in the original series, a lot of different captains and everything from different starships and everything would have a slightly different Starfleet insignia on their uniform. If you look at our captain's Starfleet insignia here, it's a pretty close match to the one worn by the other outpost captain that we saw in Balance of Terror. So it looks like they've taken a little bit of a inspiration from that and just slightly tweaked the Starfleet logo to represent that.
You know I'm working.
I just wanted to meet Captain Pike.
Apologies. Mott has always dreamt about joining Starfleet.
What did you say your name is?
Mott.
Mott al-Salah.
He has a model of the Enterprise back home.
I'm not sure we've seen it before, but when Mutt comes in the door there of the conference room, we get to see the NX-01 there on the wall behind him in a piece of artwork there, which I'm not sure we've caught a glimpse of before. So it's cool to see that. And also seems like Pike's about to undergo a bit of a PTSD moment in this scene, obviously realising that this young boy in 7 years from now is going to obviously be a Starfleet cadet, and he's going to be one of the people that doesn't quite make it in the accident that puts him in the wheelchair.
Is it true you told him what
Apologies, I think I need a moment.
I'm sorry, he just gets a little excited.
It's totally fine. I'm just feeling a little under the weather. Number one and Spock can answer any further questions you have.
Meeting this boy presents a really interesting dilemma for Pike. Does he let him know about the future events? You know, could he prevent the events of what actually happened? With knowledge of the future, and obviously now talking to this boy, it does raise interesting questions about whether or not, you know, the future could in fact be changed or not. A few other times this season we've had Pike experience kind of PTSD style moments of his future, where he's been seeing himself with a melted face in reflections. When he asked Uhura, you know, where she saw herself in, you know, in 10 years or whatever, it kind of brought home that he wouldn't be around in 10 years. So there's a lot of grief and a lot of psychological trauma that Pike's going through with this knowledge of his impending doom.
Chris, that boy. He's one of the names you mentioned.
Yes, I wasn't expecting that. There's 2 cadets who don't make it. He's one of them.
You don't have to face this alone. What are you going to do?
I don't know. I have to do something, don't I?
So what do you think Pike should do? Should he keep the information to himself? Should he sit down with the boy and say, hey, look, in 7 years' time, there's going to be an accident on board a Federation training vessel that's going to, you know, kill you, put me in a wheelchair, and this is what you need to do to kind of stop that future from taking place. It's an interesting dilemma. And I'm guessing that Pike's visions of the future, you know, are not all of what we're going to be getting in this episode, hence the moments in the trailer that kind of imply we might be getting some flash forwards to the future in other forms in this episode. Not to mention a pretty big battle sequence, which looks like a lot of fun. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section. What do you think Pike should do? Do you think he should tell the boy the future in an effort to try to change events? Or do you think he should keep the information to himself? How do you think Pike should best approach this meeting up with one of the victims of the accident that puts him in a wheelchair in 7 years from now? Guys, please leave a super thanks if you're able to. It really helps the channel out. Much appreciated. Don't forget to check out my merch store. 22% off on Monday with all my merchandise, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, caps, and everything. It normally never gets better than 20%, but Monday only for the 4th of July sale, 22% off. So make sure you check that out. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I'll be back very soon with my next video. I'll catch you guys soon.